The Galactic Academy's survival training program was designed to test the resilience of every species in the interstellar coalition. 30 cadets from 30 different worlds had been dropped onto Kepler 442b, a borderline habitable planet with unpredictable weather, limited resources, and no communication with the outside world. The goal was simple: survive for 30 days using only basic supplies and innate abilities. On day 30, the emergency beacons began transmitting across the barren landscape. Commander Zixthor, a veteran Krillian instructor with 4 arms and scales that shimmered like mercury, descended in the rescue shuttle. His team spread across the planet's surface, scanning for the cadets' distress signals. What they found was expected: 29 species huddled in their shelters, conserving energy, rationing the last of their supplies, waiting desperately for extraction. The Vexorian cadet had burrowed deep underground, using its natural tunneling abilities to escape the harsh surface winds. The Quilarian had woven an impressive cocoon from native fibers, suspended between 2 rock formations. The Dendrite collective had merged into a single consciousness to minimize resource consumption. Each species had employed their evolutionary advantages to merely endure. Then there was the human. Commander, his assistant, a crystalline luminar named Vel, chimed with confusion. The human's beacon is transmitting, but the biometric readings are unusual. Unusual how? Zixthor's mandibles clicked with interest. Elevated heart rate, increased body temperature, high caloric expenditure. Commander, the human appears to be active. Zixthor's 4 eyes widened. Active on day 30? Most species were comatose by now, having entered various forms of hibernation to survive the final stretch. The shuttle banked toward the coordinates. What Zixthor saw through the viewport made him question his own sensory organs. Where there should have been a desperate survivor clinging to life, there was instead a thriving settlement. Hannah stood in the middle of what could only be described as a farm, her dark hair tied back in a practical bun, dirt smudged across her freckled cheeks. She was laughing, actually laughing, as she showed something to Evan, the only other human in the program. Evan, tall and lanky with sun-bronzed skin, was carrying what appeared to be a harvested crop in woven baskets. "Is this the correct location?" Zixthor demanded. Vel rechecked the coordinates. "Affirmative, Commander." Human Cadet Hannah Martinez, ID, Hum 7742. The shuttle landed, kicking up dust from the surprisingly well-trodden path. Zixthor emerged, his rescue team behind him, and stopped dead in his tracks. Before him stretched rows upon rows of cultivated plants. The native Kepler vegetation had been organized into neat sections, some bearing fruit-like growths, others with root systems exposed for harvesting. A rudimentary irrigation system channeled water from a nearby stream. There was a shelter, not a survival shelter, but an actual structure with walls, a roof, and what looked suspiciously like windows. Hannah noticed the shuttle and waved enthusiastically. "Commander Zixthor, you're right on time. We were just about to have lunch. Are you hungry?" The Krillian commander's translator implant struggled with the casual tone. "Hungry?" She was asking if he was hungry? Evan jogged over, wiping his hands on a cloth. "Hey, Commander." "Welcome to Terra Nueva." That's what Hannah named it. "Hope you don't mind that we activated the beacon. The assignment was 30 days, right?" Zixthor's scales rippled with bewilderment. "Cadet Martinez, Cadet Chen, report your status." Hannah brushed dirt from her hands. "Status, we're great." "Well, the first week was rough, I'll admit. The temperature drops were brutal, and figuring out which plants were edible took some trial and error. Evan got pretty sick on day 4 from those purple berries. Learned my lesson there," Evan interjected with a grin. "But once we established a base camp and started experimenting with cultivation, things really took off." Hannah gestured proudly at her farm. "We've identified 17 edible plant species, developed a crop rotation system, built a water filtration setup, and even started domesticating some of the local fauna. Those rabbit things? Totally friendly once you feed them." Vel floated forward, her crystalline form refracting the alien sun. "You domesticated the wildlife?" "Well, befriended might be more accurate," Evan said. "But yeah, they help keep the pests away from the crops. Symbiotic relationship." Zixthor walked slowly through the farm, his tactical mind trying to process what he was seeing. This wasn't survival. This was colonization. In 30 days, these humans hadn't simply endured, they had thrived, adapted, and fundamentally altered their environment. The assignment, he said slowly, was to survive with minimal resources. Right, Hannah nodded. And we did. These are all local resources. We didn't bring seeds or tools beyond the standard kit. Everything here came from the planet. But the other species, Zixthor gestured vaguely toward the horizon, where his team was extracting malnourished, exhausted cadets. Hannah's expression softened. Oh, are they okay? We thought about trying to find them, but the assignment rules said no contact between cadets. We figured everyone had their own strategy. Strategy. The word hung in the air. The Vexorian had hidden. The Quillarian had waited. The Dendrite had conserved. Each species had employed the wisdom of countless generations. When resources are scarce, reduce, retreat, endure. But humans? Humans saw scarcity and said, let's make more. Evan offered Zixthor something wrapped in a broadleaf. Fresh bread? Well, bread adjacent. We figured out how to grind some of the grain-producing plants and bake the flour using hot stones. It's pretty good with the fruit preserves Hannah made. The commander accepted it numbly. Preserves. They had made preserves. Commander, Vel whispered privately through their neural link. The board of instruction must be notified. This is unprecedented. Zixthor looked at Hannah, who was now explaining her irrigation system to a bewildered Luminar technician, and at Evan, who was demonstrating his basket-weaving technique. They weren't just survivors. They were architects of their own abundance, even on a hostile world. In that moment, Zixthor understood something profound about humans, something that made them simultaneously the most dangerous and most valuable species in the Coalition. Every other species in the galaxy had evolved to survive their environment. Humans had evolved to make their environment survive. Them, Cadet Martinez, Zixthor said finally. Cadet Chen, outstanding work. The Academy will want a full report on your agricultural techniques, Hannah beamed. Happy to share. We were actually thinking, if you've got another 30 days, we could probably get a second harvest in. Zixthor's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. These humans, these impossible, audacious humans. Perhaps next semester, he said. For now, let's go home. As the shuttle lifted off, Zixthor looked down at the farm below, a green patch of human stubbornness on an alien world. The other cadets had survived. The humans had built a future, that he realized was the difference.